that we're able to learn Torah every day. Because of our learning, we should have the Beis Hamikdash and Refuah Shleima for Yechiel Nassim ben Sarah and Aaron David Halevi ben Menucha de Lester. Around Daf Yud Ches Amud Beis, we're up to still in the second parak. My Nikanar. You see that? And it's like it's the first word on the line. By me, it's right across from Rabbeinu Chananel. It's 7 lines down from the wide lines. My Nikanar, my Trianis. We mentioned that we had other days in Adar that were also holidays. And there were holidays from the Megillas Taanis. One of them was called the Day of Nikanar. This should not be confused with the Nikanar that had the copper doors. It's nothing to do with him. And the other one is the Day of Trianis. Nikanar, I think the Gemara said, was the 13th, and Trianis was the 12th of Adar. It says like this. The Tanya was taught in a brisa. Nikanar echad me afreche Yevanim haya. Nikanar was a Greek general. It's a Greek general. Every day, it was probably during the Hashmonai period, every day he would wave his hand towards Yehuda and Yerushalayim and say, when is it going to fall into my hands and I'll crush it? Finally, the Hashmonai overcame him. They were victorious. They cut off his thumbs. They hung it up on the gates of Yerushalayim. And they said, the mouth that spoke with Gaiva, they left out the head. They must have cut off his head. How do they say this mouth? The mouth that spoke with Gaiva, with arrogance. In the hands that were waving over Yerushalayim, Tasbem Nakama will do revenge. Yeah, it must be they cut off his head. That's yeah. Yeah. Okay.
We
didn't start the new parak yet. We're holding. You see my Nikanar. What is Nikanar?
Yeah.
Okay, so we just did that. Now we're up to my Trianis. Trianis is Trajan.
This thing with Nikanar, that doesn't seem like a very Jewish thing to do, right?
Right.
So,
right.
That's a
right.
creative.
I don't know anything similar to that. I guess what did they do? What did Yehudis do? She cut off his head and she put it on the gates, and then they ran away. They saw the general's head. They ran away. This is just plain revenge. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. The Hashmonayim, we celebrate Hanukkah. However, there's a lot going on there that we're probably not so proud of. Yeah. But this was a holiday. This was celebrated as a holiday, the Day of Nikanar. So it's in Megillas Taanis. My Trianis, what's the day of Trajan? Trajan was this general and emperor, a Roman emperor. I don't remember what year he was.
I find Nicanor's Day on Wikipedia.
I don't know. But I think they say that what we're about to read here does not match up with the Trajan that we know from Rome. It's either someone else or one of his generals, but it doesn't match at least the way this happens. Trianis Largus Lulinus Upapas Achiv Belutkia. What happened was they found the king's daughter dead, the princess. They said that the Jews killed her. So they were going to wipe out the whole city of Lud. So these two brothers, Papas and Lulinus said that it was them. No, it wasn't them, but they said it was them so that they should be, the city should be saved. They said it was us. So just kill us and let the city live. So Amar Lahem, he said to them, Immi Amai Shel Chanani Mishol Vazaryatem, Yavel Lekechem Yatzaleschem Miyadi. Then if you come from the nation of Chanani, Mishal, Vazaria, what happened with them? They were thrown into the furnace, right? And they were survived. So if you come from that nation, Hashem's going to save you as also. The way Hashem saved those three, Chanani, Mishal, Vazaria from Nebuchadnezzar. Amrullah, they responded, don't worry about that. Chanani, Mishal, Vazaya, Tzadikim, Gemurim, Hayim. They were perfectly righteous. Ru'uyim Hayel Aslam Nes. They were actually worthy of the miracle. And Nebuchadnezzar Melech Hagan Haya. And now they go for the insult. And Nebuchadnezzar was a proper king. And he was also worthy that a miracle should happen through him. Va'isei Russia had you to. Va'isei Russia had you to. I would have said it the other way. Va'isei had you to Russia. I don't know what they meant. And this wicked person is a hediot, is just what's a hediot? An idiot. A commoner. The English word idiot probably comes from hediot. He's a commoner, right? And he's not worthy of a miracle. And also, we're deserving of death. Probably they mean they had some averus of some sort. If you don't kill us, Hashem will kill us otherwise. There's a lot of lions and bears that Hashem has in the world that could get us. The reason why we fell into your hands is because Hashem's going to take revenge from you also. He killed him right away. They didn't budge from there. They didn't move from there until two deputies show up from Rome, and they broke his skull with clubs, referring to Trajan. Now, apparently Trajan didn't die like that, so it's not Trajan. Also, they said Trajan died in August, I think, and this is in Adar. It's not going to match. So they said that it's some other. It's his general, and he had a general quietus or something. And they said, well, he also died in August, and it wasn't. That's what I got from that article. Anyway, whatever. Yeah, a local general. Could be.
They talk about splitting headache. Oh,
yeah. Okay, so all this, what day was this? Trianus, this was the 12th of Adar. Okay. Ein goizin Taanis al tzibur betchila b'chamishi chulu. Ein goizin Taanis b'Rosh Chodashim chulu. We don't impose a fast on these days that are holidays, like Rosh Chodesh or Hanukkah or Purim. However, the Mishnah said that once the fasts were in place, and then it fell on Hanukkah or Purim or Rosh Chodesh, they continue fasting. The Kama Havi Aschala, what is considered that it started, that the fast's already in place, that they're still going to fast, even though it comes on a holiday. So Ravacha Amar Shalish, Ravasi Amar Achas. Depends if they fasted to Machlekes here, if it means they fasted 3 times already, or even if they just fasted 1 time, then that's considered that they continue those fasts. Okay. What I see over here is something interesting. Yeah, Rashi says, Amirai Ninu. Lavorcha de Tanai Lashtui Bigamar Ki Gavna. You can't beat the Tanaim. Tanaim don't talk in the Gemara in such a manner. I'm not sure what he's referring to. Also, I don't know what the Shaila is. Ravacha and Ravasi, we know who they are. So if you change the Girsa to Rabbi Yossi, the way Rashi has it, then he has a question. Let's see what he's saying. His Gersa was Rabbi Yossi, not Rabbi Asi. Rabbi Yossi was its famous Tana. So he says, oh, this was not the Rabbi Yossi of the Mishnah. This is Amiraim. Rav Yehuda Amarav, probably Amarav Yehuda Amarav. Yeah, I see they changed the Gersa over here. Gersa's Rif, Rashi, Varash is Ravach and Rabbi Yossi. And Rashi tells us that it's Amiraim. Okay, Zudivir Rab Meir. This that we said that it depends if they started or not. Some say no, you actually fast and you complete the fast. And the Reb Meir would hold also that you don't complete the whole fast, that you just start the fast, but before sunset, you break the fast. Dorosh Marzuchim Mishmei Ravuna Halacha Mesana Umashlam.
So it's mutar to do that,
To fast.
fast partially, but not a full fast on
Yeah. Well, officially, on Shabbos, even on Shabbos, you're not allowed to fast even partially. So it becomes a problem.
Except for Tanit Chalom, right?
Except for Taanis Daf, but then you're supposed to make it up.
Mhm.
It's bringing you a trophy.
I miss you guys.
So, but I think there's actually a problem to have any sort of intention of fasting. You see, you're not in Chabad. If we wouldn't eat before davening, it would be a fast. It would be a problem. So Chabad eats before davening, and with the excuse that we're not as strong and we need help in concentrating, and it's actually true. If you concentrate, you need the energy. If you don't concentrate, you're fine. But if davening takes concentration, then you actually need the energy. Yeah. Hadran Allah say the Taanis Ketzad. Another. Okay, we finished the second parak. The next parak is a very famous parak. I think it's like a parak of Hasidim or something. It has a name to it.
Oh, wow.
But I don't see like where that name's from or who calls it that. But there's a lot of stories in here. You wait a little bit and the stories start, and then just they don't stop. Say the Taanis Elo, these fasts that we mentioned, we said that you have a set of 3 fasts and another 3 fasts, and then you have 7 fasts, total of 13 fasts.
For rain.
For rain, this is said for the first rain that doesn't come. But if there was growth, but the growth came out abnormally, the grain did not grow properly, then masriyam alei miyad, they immediately sound the alarm. How do they translate masriyam over there? They shout out.
They cry about
They
it.
cry about it. Yeah. V'chein shepasku geshamim megeshem legeshem arbaim yom. Also, if the rain stopped, the rain started, it starts to grow, and then it stops. That's worse than not coming at all. If it doesn't come at all and it comes late, okay, the grain is going to come late. Maybe there won't be as much. But if it starts and stops, then all the seed gets spoiled. Mipnei shimakas b'tzeiros, because that's already a plague, a drought. Yordu litzmachim avala yordu le'ilan. If the rain was good for the vegetation, but it was not good for the trees. It means it wasn't enough. For the trees, they have to like flood it, to get all deep in the roots. Le'ilan v'leila tzmachim. Or let's say it was good for the trees, but it wasn't good for the other vegetation. It was good for the trees and for the other vegetation, for the grain, etc. But it wasn't good for the reservoirs. Yeah, what do they say over there? Smala, right? Someone sneezes. Is that right? Okay. Masirnale miyad. You need to have, for those 3, the reservoirs, the trees, and the vegetation. in a city that didn't get rain. The ksiv we had this pasuk before saying that if part of the city gets rain and part doesn't, or if one city does and one city doesn't, that is itself a plague. Even the one that gets it is a plague. So the city that doesn't get the rain, that they fast and they also cry out, they sound the alarm. And the surrounding cities, they fast, but they don't sound the alarm. They don't shout out.
He says, blow the shofar.
Blow the shofar. Yeah. The reason why I'm not saying blow the shofar is because we had different interpretations of what it meant before. So, Rabbi Akiva Omer Masrias v'lei Mesanes. Rabbi Akiva says that they shout out or blow the shofar possibly. And but they don't fast, so it's the opposite. A city that has an epidemic, a plague, or chas v'shalom, right? Hashem should protect us. Or there's collapsing buildings or walls. That city. What is it? High winds. Oh. So that city fasts and shouts out, cries out. And everyone else surrounding them fasts but does not cry out. Rabbi Akiva Masrias v'lei Mesanes, exactly the same. Rabbi Akiva says that they cry out but they don't fast. Ezu dever. What's the criteria of an epidemic? A city that could produce 500 soldiers. Okay, it's a large city. Maybe 500 men. It doesn't mean soldiers. 500 men. It's 500 feet. And 3 people die one day after another. That's a plague. Yeah. It would have to be that they died not because they were old and whatever. They died because of the plague, of course. If it's less than that, it's not considered a plague. It's not an epidemic. The following we cry out wherever it is. This is a plague that comes to the grain. In the translation that I was using, that Professor Malter, he said it means blast. I don't know what blast is. Probably like some sort of dry wind of some sort. Yeah. Parched. Well, a yarkain is usually a at least for a human, yarkain meant jaundice. But for when we're dealing with grain, it probably means some sort of mildew. Bala arba, what do they translate it there? Before the arba, what was the one? It was yellowing. Okay. Ala arba is the locust. Vala chasil is the maybe crickets. Caterpillars. Okay. Val chayara for wild animals, beasts. And also for an army, an invading army. We cry out about this because it's a traveling makkah. It comes quick. There's a story that the elders of Yerushalayim went back to their cities. The Gazu Taanis, they decreed a fast because he saw a little bit the size of the opening of an oven of shidafin, of this blast, of this parching in Ashkelon. And the reason why is because it could spread. So they imposed a fast. I'm sorry? It's contagious. There was another fast because the wolves had eaten 2 children across the Yarden. Rabbi Yossi they didn't even eat. It wasn't even that they just saw the wolves. and in the city. So that's already enough to impose a fast. Alayla Masriyim b'Shabbos. The following, we cry out on Shabbos, Aliyah Shikifu and Nachrim, and a city that's surrounded by the Gentiles. Sounds like there's a siege. Einar, or maybe there's a scare that there may be a flood. Balasvina matrefes bayam, or a boat that's lost at sea. Rabbi Yossi says that the crying out that we say over here is not crying out to Hashem. It's crying out to get help. So they're sounding a shofar to call everyone together to it's like the old fire bells, right? To call everyone to come. Shimon HaTimani Yomer Afal Adefer. Shimon HaTimani says that for a plague also, they would cry out even on Shabbos. The sages didn't agree to that. Where do we know Shimon HaTimani? Where do we know Shimon HaTimani? Shimon HaTimani. Was he the one that was Dirish Kol Asin Shabbatayra? I think he would darshan every S. Shimon HaTimani, yeah, that's what it says. Every time the Torah says S, he had a drasha for it. And until it came to Es Hashem Lekecha Tira, he realized that this is not a correct approach, and he took back everything that he taught.
What does it mean? What was
S, the word S.
that? No, I know, but like, what was that sentence?
Oh, Hashem your God, you should fear. You should fear Hashem your God. He said it's impossible that you should fear anything else. Yeah. So Ad Sheba Rabbi Akiva, Marmalai Talmid Chachamim. Rabbi Akiva told him, you don't have to take it back. We can find something for that also. Yeah. Yeah, that was Shimon HaTimani. What does it have to do with this? I don't know. Okay. Same person. Al kol tzara shleitav al tzibur masririm aleim chutz mirev geshamim. For any problem that comes to the community, they cry out, except for too much rain. Okay, now we're going to see. This is a famous story. They told to Cheni Amagal, Hispalal Shiardu Gesham. Cheni Amagal is Hama'agel. He, Cheni, the circle maker, right? Or on the side, it says Al Shem Uga. It sounds like a cookie. I don't know. There's another interpretation that he was a baker.
Uga is a circle.
Uga could just be a circle. It doesn't have to be a cookie.
Yes, correct. It could just be just a plain circle.
Okay. So they told them Davin that it should rain. Go in with such confidence. He said, take your ovens, the Pesach ovens inside. They were made out of clay. They kept them in the courtyard. He says, take them in so they don't dissolve. So his spalal v'layard geshamim, he davened and it didn't rain. Ma asa, what did he do? Ag uga. He drew a circle, v'amad b'seicha, and he stood in the center of it. V'amal afanav, and he said, Rebbeinu Shalom, Master of the world, b'necha sama pnei melai, your children have put their face towards me. Shanika ben bayas lefanach, because I'm like a member of your household. Nishbani b'shimcha agadol, I swear by your great name, sheni zozmi kanat shetrachim al b'necha, I'm not going to budge until you have compassion over your children. Eschilu geshamim menatfim, it started to drizzle. Amar lekach shalti, I didn't ask for that. Elagishmi baris tichnamaris, I need the reservoirs to fill up. Eschilu leda bezaf, it started to downpour with like anger, zaf, torrents. Amar lekach shalti, I didn't ask for that either. Elagishmi ratzon bracha nadava, I wanted rain of blessing, of desire, of graciousness. Yarda kitikunan. So it rained properly. It rained so much that people had to leave Yerushalayim. They had to go up to the Temple Mount. It was starting to get wet, to flood. Because of the rain. They came and they said to him, just like you daven that it should rain, you should daven that it should go away. He said, Tsuru, go check. Check if there was a certain rock that was on the Harabayas or in Yerushalayim. I don't know where the rock was. It was in Yerushalayim. Then the surrounding areas, right? So, but they didn't mean the surrounding mountains. Yeah, Yerushalayim Harim Savivla. The other mountains are higher. But that may mean Yerushalayim. That was David HaMelech saying that. That's the city of David. That itself is lower down. That's the lower. It's Lav Dafki. He meant the Temple Mount Yerushalayim. I don't know. I don't know those things. Okay, so in Nimcha 7 Atay, and see if the rock that the people that lost an object, Umar Bab Metzia says they would stand on this rock and they would announce, anyone that lost anything, come tell me what you lost, or give me a siman and I'll return it, right? They would do this after the Yom Tov.
This is one discovered.
Oh, really?
This rock.
Uh-huh. Where is it?
It's on the path, the rock that they discovered. Path of the old city in Ir David, leading down
Uh-huh.
down this it's like a pyramid, steps to the top, but nothing around it, no gates, no doors.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
Archaeologists.
Uh-huh.
That was
Reb Naftali says that this rock they found in Ir David, it has steps going up, and there's nothing surrounding it. It's sort of like a stage, and people would go up there and they would announce if they found something. That,
raincoats. They're also
Yitzi says they were announcing the raincoats. And what else?
AirPods.
And AirPods. Okay. Shalach lai Shimon ben Shatach. So Shimon ben Shatach sends to Chenia Magal. So Chenia Magal is early. Shimon ben Shatach is early. Right? He was in the time of Yanai. Yeah. This is an early Ilmali Chayniat, if you weren't Chayni, goes Rani Alecha Nida, I would put you in Chayrim. What should I do that you're mischate? Yeah, in that professor's translation says that you're petulant. Is that what it says over there? Misbehave. Okay, I like the word petulant. Lefnei hamakim, like the terrible twos. And but nevertheless, he does your will, like a child that misbehaves in front of his father. But the father still does what he wants. Regarding you, it says that your mother and your father rejoice, and will be glad in the one that gave birth to you. Okay, so that's what we say, that you're allowed to pray for the rain to come, but you don't pray for the rain to stop. Chenia Magal did it, but no one else should. We don't not draw circles. We don't make a whole event that the rain should stop. To shout out and shofars and all of that. Let's say, this is very interesting. Everyone talks about this on fast days. Let's say the fast started, but it started to rain. It's working. So if it was before sunrise, then they could already stop. They don't have to continue fasting. Remember that the last set of fast started by the night. If it's after sunrise, yashlimu, then they have to finish it. That's the Tanakama. Rabbi Eliezer Aimer kaidem chatzais. If it comes before noon, you don't have to finish the fast. After chatzais, then yashlima, you have to finish it. Ma'aser shegazer Taanis Balut. There's a story. They imposed the fast in Lord. And it rained before chatzais. Amalem Reb Tarfon. Tarfon says, go make a holiday. And then they came back afterwards to recite Hallel. Yeah, you can't recite Hallel unless it's on full stomach. By on Pesach, we say we start the Hallel before, but we don't finish it till after the meal. Yeah, because I forget what it says. It says Nefesh Malaya, something Seveya. Yeah, you can't recite Hallel until you're satisfied. Yeah. Say the Taanis Elo Amar B'Ravia Rishayna. We said that this is the order of the fast for the first rain. The Gemara says, 1 second. Baraminhi. There's a contradiction. Ravia Rishayna Vishnia Lishal. The first rain, the second rain, that's just when you ask for rain. Shlishis Lesanis. It's the third rain that you fast for. Now you're saying it's the first rain. Amar Rav Yehuda. Or maybe it's Rav Huna. Hachi Kamar. Say the Taanis Amar Emasai. How does the fast work? It's the first, second, and third rain. That's when the fast starts. But it means is that if the first rain came, but then it didn't grow properly, it didn't grow, or it grew, but it didn't grow properly, so then then you make it a fast immediately. So what we did was, we adjusted over here what we're talking about when we said the first rain. The first rain has 3 rains in it. So what we meant was, anytime in the first rain, any of those 3, then we wouldn't fast. But if it rained and it didn't grow properly, then we do fast. That's what our Mishnah is saying. I'm sorry, I skipped something. Only if it didn't grow properly, it grew in a different form. But if it just dried out, then you don't fast. That's what it sounds like. The Gemara says pshita. That's obvious. Only if it grew improperly, that's when you fast. It says leitricha da'akon. What we mean to say, there's 2 interpretations in Rashi. Why don't you fast if it dried out? One interpretation is because there's no hope for it. Once it dried out, you can't get it back. Yeah. This is like those orchids. You know, you get orchids in the house. Some people have luck with them. But if you're not like exact, so then they dry out and then you can water them for however many months you want. Unless you put them outside or back or something, that they're finished. So anyway, if it dries out, what are you doing? You're fasting. It's not coming back. It's not coming back. There's no reason to fast. So that's the first shot. So it says, like Tricha Da'akon. The Gemara says, no, it grew a stalk afterwards. Oh, it grew a stalk. You could say that maybe that stalk is significant. Kamash Milan, that's nothing. That doesn't mean you're going to get grain. Okay, that's one pshat. Other pshat is that, it dried out. Don't worry about drying out. It's going to come back naturally. So you don't have to fast. So the Gemara says, no. I could have thought that you don't have to fast because it already grew a stalk. Kamash Malan, that doesn't mean that you're going to get a grain. No, that would be the opposite. We're saying that, so how does the second shot go? Sha'ala B'kana. Yeah, I could have thought that maybe it grew a stalk. I need to fast for that, or masriya, not fast. I need to shout out to get it to grow. Kamash Malan is coming to tell us that it's still going to grow more, and you don't need to shout out for that. Okay, there's a positive shot and a negative shot in this. Also, if the rain stopped in between the other rains, it started to rain and then it stopped for 40 days. So that's considered a drought. The Gemara says, "My makas bitzeris." What is a drought? Amrav Yuda Amrav makame violi de bitzeris. It's a plague, something that happens that will bring to scarcity. There won't be enough food. Amrav Nachman, Nara Anara Bitzarta. If the only way to get food is by river, then that's considered a Bitzaris, that it's a drought. Medinsa, but if they have to get it over dry land, that's Kafna, that's already a famine. We're saying the difference over here between a drought and a famine.
But in Mitzrayim, they always got with irrigation and everything, they got all their agriculture from.
Yeah.
over. Uh,
Yeah, what it means here is I think this means the way of transporting it has to come by river. So then that is still not so bad. They can get a lot of food by boat, but if they have to take it by camel, then that's already a famine. Rab Chanina. Rab Chanina says, "Sa besela ushchicha betzarta." If the price of wheat is a sa cost a sela, that's very expensive. Sa a shekel was okay. That was half of that. But so then that's already considered a drought, even though there's a lot of grain. Arba, but if it takes 4 sa, even if it takes 4 sa for a sela, which that's a very cheap price, but there isn't a lot, that's kafna. That's a famine. That's only when people have money, but they don't have the fruits. So then they're able to buy if it's there. If no one has money, but the fruits are cheap, even if the fruits are cheap, then that's immediately a problem if no one has money. What is that? The banks fail, right? Some Rabbi Yochanan said, "Nihirna, I remember, I remember the price of wheat was so cheap. 4 sa cost a sela. It's half price than the cheapest price. Nefichi kafan b'Tveria midlas Yisuf. There were so many swollen people from famine in Tveria because they didn't have coins. There was no an Isser is a name of a coin. Let's say it rained, it was good for the vegetation, but it wasn't good for the trees. We can understand what this means because it rained a little, which was good for the grain, but the trees need much more. It didn't rain a lot. It wasn't sufficient. We know what that is also. It rained a lot, but not a little. It didn't rain pleasantly. So it just ran right off the surface, and it wasn't good for the grain. Oh, is that what it says? It rained good for both vegetation and for the trees. But it wasn't good for the reservoirs. That's it rained hard, it rained soft, but it didn't rain a lot. But this that it says but this that it says in the Brisa that it filled up the reservoirs, but it wasn't good for the trees and it wasn't good for the other vegetation. What does that mean? It came with a cloudburst. It means it just came right down, but it didn't get absorbed into the soil because of it just ran right off the top of the soil. So the trees and the vegetation didn't get anything. Taner Rabbanan. Yeah, that's why they make those flower what is the thing? The watering cans. It comes out with a little sprinkle that should get absorbed into the ground, not just washed right off. Taner Rabbanan. Masriyan Aleilanes. We shout out, we blow the shofar for the trees. The Preisa Pesach. Preisa Pesach means 15 days before Pesach. Rashi just says Bimea Pesach. Yeah, but we had another Gemara that it means Preis. Preis means half a month. Preisa Chag we have in Shkalim. Alabayras Susichan Amayras for the reservoirs. I feel Preisa Chag, even halfway, even on Rosh Hashanah. If there's no rain left over the summer, if there's nothing to drink, that's a problem. Whenever it is, if there's no water to drink, then they right away they make a day of calling to Hashem, prayer. Be'ezim miyad shalem, what would be immediate? Sheni v'chamishi v'sheni. It's a Monday, Thursday, Monday, like the following Monday that would come up. Ba'al kulan in masrim elal b'frachya shalahem. But in all of them, this day, this time of calling to Hashem is only in that province of where it's taking place. Askara. Askara is translated usually as croup. It's a disease that makes breathing difficult. Yeah, kids have it. They get it sometimes. They put them in a tent, an oxygen tent.
My brother had it.
Yeah.
He almost died. It's very scary.
Yeah, they have to rush to the hospital. Yeah, I don't remember where it came up. Maybe one of my brothers also, or little ones. Croup. Oh, I think it's OUP. Yeah, if it's to that extreme that it's causing death, then you make a day of prayer. Oh, you know where Askara was? By the students of Rabbi Akiva. It says Kulam Meso Me Askara, I think it says. Oh, diphtheria. Okay. Okay, it's a breathing disease, that we know. It says it's the worst disease. Yeah. Yeah. Some explain the reason why it's the worst disease. Why is it the worst disease? There's got to be other things. It's the worst because all your energy goes into trying to survive, and you can't put together anything that you needed to do. If a person knows that he's passing away, he'd be able to do this, do that, do something else, put things in order, say, tell the family something. But this, he can't do anything because all his energy is going in just to get to try to breathe. So, okay, it's we don't make a day of calling out. A small amount of locusts. You call out. Reb Shimon ben Elazar Omer, afalachagav, even for grasshoppers. Tan Rabbanan, Masrian alianos b'shar shnei shavua. You cry out for the trees that don't have rain in the other times of the 7 years. Yeah, and that book, he calls it of the septenary. That's his word for the other part of the 7 years. Septenary. What is it? Is that what it's called? The 7-year cycle? Okay, yeah, but apparently not on the Shemitah year itself. Alabayers, because that's just hefker. Alabayers valasichan valamayers. For the reservoirs, afilu b'shvias. That you need even on the Shemitah year. Ben Gamliel says no. The trees are also important in Shemitah, even though they're hefker, because the poor can walk around and take the fruits, and we should daven that they should be able to get that. Tanya Yidach, Masrian ala Ilana is B'shar Shnei Shavua, ala Ber Sichon Meres Afilu B'Shvias, Reb Shimon ben Gamliel Afal Ilanis, also for the trees. And this brisa adds in Masrian ala Svichon B'Shvias. Even if those wild growths are not doing well on the Shemitah, no one planted them; they're just growing wild. You also make a day of shouting, of crying to Hashem, because the poor can walk around and take them, and now they're not getting it. Tanya was taught in a brayso from Rabbi Elazar ben Parta. Rabbi Elazar ben Parta says, "B'yom shecharav beis hamikdash nasu geshamim tzimukim la'olam." Sikmiyun is another version of this. Well, since the Beis Hamikdash is destroyed, the rain has been diminished. Tzimukim means like raisins. It became dried out. Rashi says, what is it? What was Tzimuk? Where did I see Tzimukim? That as if the breasts have been dried up. That's Rashi's example.
for Eretz Yisrael, that's where.
Seems everywhere. Sometimes there's a lot of rain. And sometimes there's not a lot. Sometimes it rains in its time. Sometimes it doesn't rain in the right time. What's it similar to when it rains? What can we compare it to? It rains in the time. Yeah, we're starting with the last one. It's similar. It's Rabbi Parnasase Bechet b'Shabbos. The master pays him on the first day of the week. He's able to prepare his bread for the whole week. He gets his paycheck on time. He can put it to the right things that it's needed to be used for. If it doesn't rain in the right time, he gets his paycheck on Erev Shabbos. What's he supposed to do? Rush to make the bread. It doesn't come out right. Can't eat it right. The whole thing, everything is messed up. Yeah. It all goes to the interest on the credit cards.
That's what they do. We get paid at the end of the month everywhere.
Yeah.
Not on the first of the month. Never paid. It's
Right.
advance.
Yeah.
Once in a lifetime. He's saying that it's normal that you get paid on the first of the month.
Yeah.
Wait a minute, so they call this climate change today, right? And they attribute it to man. Here they call it God's will.
Right. The problem with paying at the beginning of the week is what we're seeing now, is that everyone's quitting and you have no one to, there's no one working. We're always scrambling for the regular workers. How is it at the university? They have the workers, people cleaning up and all of that. Oh, you don't have to go in. No, you do have to go in. No, it's I don't know if anyone's out there. We're always scrambling for the regular workers.
Bring them through a VIP entrance, take them out of the VIP entrance.
Okay. Shana shegeshmea merubim lemo daima le'eved shnas l'rab panasas v'asachas. There's a lot of rain. This is similar to the servant that his master gave him everything all at once. Nimtzas rechaim teichnes minakor masha teichnes minakav. Yeah. Maybe there's another girsa here. Echeles minakor k'moshe echeles minakav.
What is
What's happening here is that if you put in to the mill the grain, there's a little bit of flour that gets wasted. It gets absorbed in the cracks and all of that, and then so what comes out, you have to take that into account, that you don't get everything out because it gets absorbed.
When you mill grain, does that just grind it?
It just grinds it, into flour. If you only have a little bit of grain, you lose the same amount that you would have if you had a lot of grain. So, which is over here, you get all the grain, so you only lose that amount, whatever the amount is, which is fine. However, the master gives him just a little bit. What you would have lost if it would have been 30 saw, and each saw is how many kav? 6 kav. So what was that, 180 kav? So you lose the same amount for each kav that you would have lost from 180 kav. It's a total waste. So another pshat. It's like someone that's mixing the clay, the mortar, whatever. If he has a lot of water, he doesn't run out of water, and the clay is very good. It mixes well. it doesn't mix well. It runs out of water and it doesn't mix. It becomes like crumbly. So yeah, that's what this all was. Rabbi Elazar ben Parta explaining that the amount of rain and the time of rain makes the big difference. Okay, I guess let's leave it here. Story coming up.
Thank you.
Good day.
Scale. Large quantities, you waste the same amount as